Hey guys, welcome to the show. My name is Dean Harris. I'm the Vice President of Cresco Realty, and welcome to the Investor's Guide to Memphis Real Estate podcast, the podcast where we give out-of-state investors the boots on the ground knowledge they need to be informed, savvy, and win in the Memphis real estate game. As always, I'm joined by Douglas Skipworth. Douglas, how are you?
Hey man, great.
Douglas is our founder and principal broker of Cresco Realty and Cresco Property Management, and you're also our largest management client. So we enjoy getting that kind of opinion and deep dive. You can listen to our podcast, guys, on wherever you're finding it at now. I've just been told that we don't necessarily have to tell you guys because you found us, so I'll skip that in my intro. Appreciate you guys tuning in, though. Dean at Cresco.com. If you have any questions, anything at all you want us to discuss, shoot me an email at dean@Cresco.com. I also wanted to add, too, today, if you want to be added to our buyers list, even if you're not currently buying right now, if you want to be added to our buyers list, I build you a buyer profile. I can send you houses that are just based on your criteria. Send me that email, dean@Cresco.com. I'll get you added to that. Today, we're going to talk about don't panic and don't be afraid in this current real estate market. There is a lot of activity and a lot of stuff going on. There is uncertainty. There's doomsday people. There's the black cloud is over us, folks. Mm-hmm. And as I was doing some research for today's podcast, it was pretty clear to me that everyone is has a doubt in their mind, or they've allowed something to get into them to creep in a little doubt. And maybe there's some valid reasons.
Everybody should have doubts at times and question things. That maybe questioning, nobody's certain 100% of the time. So I think that's good, but it's like, okay, what do you do with that? Yeah,
we just got, right before we turned on the recorder here, we just were talking about, I'm so jaded to this and numb to this. Like, this is not even affecting me. This is just, hey, we got to shift into another system. And
always.
We just did it with COVID. I've been around through the 2006 through 9 stuff. And, I don't want to sit here and come across as like, hey, it's no big deal. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah, good point.
But I am here to tell you that I'm pretty chill about this. Like, I just want to kind of relay today in what you and I have kind of talked about. We don't have a whole lot of detailed notes today. You and I were kind of talking this the hallway. This is a little bit more of us just kind of communicating where our mindset's at today, right? Go. So I want to kind of relay that message that we are going to hit some tough times. It's coming economically.
Yes.
But I believe that the real estate pocket can still not only maintain, I think you can thrive in this.
Sure.
I think you can navigate around the negativity and find it. I just used the silly analogy of the public pool, and everybody just jumped out, man. There were 100 people in the pool.
A little rumbling of thunder.
Gone. And everybody splattered. Everybody just scattered.
No lightning, no rain yet.
Nothing.
Just some clouds and maybe a distant thunder.
And everybody jumped out, and it's you and 8 other people now. So I see that, to me, not only as an opportunity, but as a really good opportunity. And I think that's part of our notes today to discuss this. I want you to give the quote because I always mess it up. But what's the Warren Buffett quote that I want everybody to take away today?
For sure. The Buffett quote right now is, be fearful when others are greedy.
Yeah.
And be greedy when others are fearful, right? And so we've just come through greed all over, man. So it's shifting. We've been talking about that for months, but it is now, everybody sees it. The headlines are shifting, and they're moving even more in that to, woe is me, here we go.
What am I going to do?
What are we going to do? Rates are going up.
Yeah.
So people are fearful. People have jumped out of the pool. So now is the opportunity to, again, to use that Buffett term, is now is the time to be greedy. And all I think we mean by that is to work your plan. Don't panic. Be in control. We talked about that weeks ago, about being in control and selling now.
Yeah.
Still the advice to sell now if you want to. I mean, between those shows, I listed that one. I told you I was going to list because I want to get it out now.
That's right.
So while I still have a little more control, work your plan. If you've been in this now's the time to work your plan. You're going to find another way is you're going to find what you're looking for.
I was when you got done talking, I was just about to say, if you get on the internet and you start searching for opinions and you want to look for negative opinions and you want to find doomsday guys, it is there.
Oh,
believe
man.
me, I was doing research the last couple of days here and it's all over the place.
COVID, stimulus, inflated money, inflation, here it is.
Everything.
Global unrest, political unrest, you name it, there is something bad.
Cover up.
Yeah.
Cover
Everybody,
everything up.
Bomb shelter. Here we go.
I tell you, if you do that, I can almost promise you, if you get into your bomb shelter right now and you cover up and you don't come out for 24 months and in 3 to 4 and 5 years, if you're still investing, you'll deeply regret that.
Yes,
I did.
Yeah,
I didn't
been there, done that.
I didn't buy coming out of the. I was young. I was younger. I didn't have the leadership and the people in my life in 2010 and 11 and 12 to be savvy enough to buy real estate. I won't do it again. I refuse to do this again. If COVID didn't bring down prices, this is going to bring down some prices, or it's going to level things out a little bit, and I'm going to buy them now. I'm going to buy them now, and I'm going to continue to buy. I was talking to our producer before the show.
Which we talked about. It's like, buy now.
Buy them now. I'm cleaning up all my lines of credit. I'm making sure that I'm clear. I'm making sure I have everything prepared for now and for the next 12 to 24 months, because we're going to see. We talked about this last week and on the show, and then in one of our other meetings with a colleague this week, we talked about the investor that is going to be the first one to suffer. And for you guys out there that are just getting into this, this is what you can look forward to. And if you're already in this and you're who I'm about to explain, you need to watch yourself out. Let's say you're the investor with 4. This example that was just brought into us, and if you go back on my podcast, I've said this probably 20 times. This is going to be the first group of people that suffer from these interest rate hikes and this market. You're the investor and you've got 4 properties. You got one of them that you've had for a while and it just went vacant, and you were just told it needs $25,000 to get back in rent ready condition. You don't have $25,000. Now you got 3 properties that are paying rent.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. You're trying to figure out this 4th one, but paying my mortgage, making a few $100s a month. Now all of a sudden, number 3 here loses their job, or whatever happens to them, quits paying for many reasons.
Happens.
Life. Now, I've only got 2 people paying out of my 4. They're barely covering my mortgage for these 2, and I'm losing about $150 to $200 a month. So not only was I basically working for free with 3, well, now that I've only got 2, I've got a problem on my hands because I'm losing money. There's where we got the call.
Yeah,
Dean,
that's right.
I need to sell.
Yeah.
Because I don't have $25,000, and now this one stopped paying. I'm about to have some type of rehab. I can't afford this one either. I need to get out. They're going to come and they're going to say, I'd like to sell for top dollar. They're not going to get top dollar. It's going to creep down a little bit, and they're still in a little control because they can still make some money. But if that investor waits 6 more months and we get into the fall and we get into all this stuff, you're losing control.
They're losing control, and they could go into panic mode, and then
sell, get rid of it for what I owe,
bad decisions in
for
panic
what I
mode.
owe, or I'll bring $20,000 to get rid of this problem. I don't want to. That's the investor that's coming.
And we've been in those markets.
Oh man,
where you just, man, I will take money to the table. Just get this out of my pocket. Just get this out of my hair. I'll bring money out of my pocket.
Please, I've seen it a million times. I just can't do this.
But that's
anymore.
it's not right now.
It isn't now, but I really tell you, because if you're that it isn't now, and you still have control. This is not by the way, an advertisement to come sell and list. I'll help that.
Sure.
But this is just a heads up on what's coming. We've shown some clips from prior things from years ago.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't want to act like a fortune teller here, but I do want to try to, come across as a pair of guys here that has been through this and has been in the good and the bad of the real estate market. So anyway,
and you said it, and it made me think of of a scripture from Proverbs. I can't quote the reference, or maybe it's a psalm. Maybe it's a psalm or a proverb, and it says, "If you watch the skies, you will never plant. If you watch the clouds, you will never reap." So I mean, you just got to keep your head down and do what you know to do. Because if you're always waiting for the perfect opportunity, the weather's never going to cooperate for the planter, the farmer. And that's, 2,000 to 4,000 years ago, they're telling you that. Yeah. They're saying, hey, it's the same thing right now.
Yeah.
You're not going to, people, all those people jumped out of the pool because they saw the clouds.
That's right. So I do think stick with the plan. Don't waver. Maybe adjust your numbers or whatever.
Yeah, but make adjustments.
But stick with your strategy. We're seeing the market flatten a little bit. What are some of the things that we're going to see come out of that?
And before we say that, just like I've just made me, because we're sports analogy guys, right? Like the coaches go in there with a game plan.
Yeah.
If the game plan doesn't work, you don't see them on the sideline rip it up and go, "What do we do?" They just make adjustments and they try to just to kind of make their plan work and stick to it and just
halftime
adapt.
Adjustments. Who are the teams that win? Since we're sticking with this,
yes,
the teams that adjust at halftime. Right now is the NBA Finals. Who do you think's winning?
The
people that go in and adjust during the series. Because if you don't think it happened, it was 2-1 Boston, folks.
Oh yeah.
now today, as we're recording this, it's 3-2. Who do you think made adjustments?
Yep.
So. Getting off that and back to real estate, make your adjustments.
Make your adjustments. That is it.
Make your adjustments. Make your pricing. Make your area. Whatever it is, just make them.
And I think what you're saying is we are not saying everything is great.
No.
Pollyanna. No. Hey, putting our head in the sand. No. We're saying eyes wide open. Make adjustments. We're just saying it's not the end of the world. You're still in control. You can still make those decisions. So you can still
whether you're buying or selling.
Yeah.
You still are in control, especially with the sellers. So if you're that investor that's listening to this and you've got property in Memphis and you're feeling a little bit of that grip loosen, then let's talk about it. I'll be happy to help you through that scenario and help you keep them. The idea here is not to drive people to sell.
No.
I would definitely, because if you're early in that stage, let's talk about it. How can I help you strategize and keep those properties and then maybe add? But if you're far enough down the road where it's like, wow, I need to move, then let's sell them. But and on the buyer end, it's the same thing. I'm not saying you're waiting on that person to trip up, but there are going to be people that are going to trip up. That's going to happen.
Yes, and man, that's so good because there's so much with that. You want to be prepared, be ready. I have seen Sam Zell is a commercial real estate guy, did awesome, and he has said it because he did it in the 70s and 80s with the SNL crisis, more in the 80s, and he made a fortune out of other people's misfortune. Now, he didn't want other people to have misfortune, and we didn't want that during the Great Recession. We didn't want that during COVID. We don't want that now, but we want to make a fortune. We want to plow ahead. We want to do those things and to strike while opportunity presents itself, while the iron's hot.
I definitely don't wish that on anyone. That is a great point to say. But I also don't want DUIs and drunk driving accidents to happen, but for sure they're happening, and you don't want bad things to happen, but they're coming. Things are going to happen to investors here. If you're on that buyer side, be available and be ready. Help that person get out of a bad situation and move on.
I think another part of this is not to scare anyone.
Not at all.
This isn't headline grabber kind of clickbait stuff. This is, and I learned this when I was in college studying psychology. There's eustress, there's de-stress. Everybody's like stress. Everybody talks about stress, de-stress.
Yeah.
And it's the scary stuff. It's the stuff that's bad.
Yeah.
And then there's something called eustress, a psychological term called eustress, EU, as in like a good word, eulogy. So it's good stress.
Yeah.
It's the stress that motivates you.
Yes.
It's the stress that goes, oh, I need to do something. It's the calls to action. It's a call to action. It's the things that puts you taking control of the situation. And to me, that's what this is. Oh, hey, this is a wake-up call. A wake-up call is another way to say eustress. It's a wake-up call. It's like, what are you going to do? Now you've kind of, here's your opportunity to shine.
We hadn't talked about this, and this is more personal than probably people care, but my wife and I, Amber, were talking last night, and I said what you about the good stress, and I didn't phrase that like you did, but I said I was talking to her about the market, and she's an agent and has helped me and blah, blah, blah. So we were talking, and she just looked at me. She goes, "You love this, don't you?" And I go, no, that's not you. She goes, "But you thrive in this." I was like,
there you go.
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's it. That. Oh, I like that.
I don't love this because I don't love I don't love negativity, and I don't love, but I do thrive in this because
that's awesome.
Sharpens my mind with this. I'm paying way more attention now than I was a year or 2 years ago in the market. Because what's there to pay attention to?
That's
it's all great. Everybody's buying everything. The rates are low. What's there to pay attention to? How many can I sell? How many can I buy?
This is focusing your mind.
But this is sharpening my mind and sharpening my skill and keeping me in tune with what's coming. Yeah. And I'm paying way more attention because you have to. It's not because I'm all of a sudden I care more now than I did 2 years ago.
You want to thrive.
But if you want to thrive and you want to make sure that you stay ahead of this, you have to pay attention daily. I was telling our colleague, with the guy that had the thing, I was like, this is happening now.
Yeah.
Watch it now happen. Don't sit on the sidelines and woe is me, because you're going to get caught up in it.
One of our mentors who just down the street, he used to always say there are three kinds of people. They're the kind that, make it happen, the kind that watch it happen, and the kind that say, what just happened?
Yes.
And you want to be right now the person who makes it happen. Right?
Make it happen, watch it happen, or what just happened?
No, be in there and make it happen. Focus your mind, use stress, use it as a wake-up call, ears up, eyes open.
But she was definitely right on. And I looked at it, I was just like, wow, you're right. So awesome. Thriving during that. One of my next notes was talking about foreclosures and short sales. I added this in here because typically in a market that is a real estate market that people think is going to dive, short sales and foreclosures come back. I don't know how you stand on it. I don't believe short sales are going to be back in the fold. Will we see some foreclosures? We're going to do the zip code breakdown coming up in the next month. Wait. We'll get into percentages of foreclosures and if they're coming out. I do believe we're going to see some foreclosures. Yeah. I don't believe we're going to see a lot of short sales. I don't think the banks have an appetite for that.
Stats. First of all, over the last 15 years, data, and I'm just using data from local in Memphis, foreclosures are unbelievably low compared to where they have been. I mean, it's just gone just all the way down to rock bottom.
Basically nothing.
And so it's come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the percentage is really high, but the number is still very historically low, kind of like we've talked about with interest rates. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are still very historically low. And will be for the next 2 years. Even as they raise them, they are still very historically low. And that's the same thing with the foreclosures. Yeah. It's not the opportunity that had in the past. Short sales, I'm with you. I just saw something. I've seen several things. One is delinquencies aren't what you would expect them to be. They're really, people are staying on their mortgage payments. There's $6 trillion out there that says it will. and secondly, home equity is at an all-time high, right? Because we still, and we've talked about this for months now, the supply and demand. It's still, even as inventory is creeping up, right? Because people aren't as aggressive to buy, the demand, the old supply demand curve is still not kind of at equilibrium. It is still too low in the supply. So anyway, all that to say, I don't foresee foreclosures being something that's going to be a huge opportunity for somebody. No, not right now. No. So if you're looking for that, the reason why I brought that up is I had somebody call me and ask me hey, are you seeing these? No. I'm not. The banks don't have them. There's equity there. There's banks would be willing to work with somebody. No. Yeah, there's equity there. That's a real. That's what that thing. That's why people are still feeling pretty good, because even though the stock market has most recently kind of hit that bear market where it went down more than 20% this year, home equity is at all-time highs. And the banks learned a lesson, but those bankers aren't dumb. No, they didn't loan like they did. They didn't loan, cautious. That's right. They didn't loan to people and that shouldn't be buying houses like they did back then. So no, I don't see them. I do think this is a time that an investor can be savvy. Yeah, I do. I think this is a time for
creativeness.
Yep.
I think you can learn how to be a savvy investor right now. If you don't have that gene that you're just naturally savvy, I think right now, if you're watching the market and you're watching investors pop out of the market, I think it's an opportunity for you to jump in and learn a little bit more. And going back to our swimming pool analogy, if there's 100 people in the swimming pool, you can only move a few feet. You're not going to learn a whole lot. You're just it's the people, it's whatever's happening around you. If 85 of them jump out and it's you and 15 others, you're going to be able to move around that pool a lot more.
And there were a bunch of people in the pool, and you might look down and see, oh, look, there's a quarter down there.
There's a quarter down there.
That people you couldn't see.
Couldn't see because there's 100
swim down there and grab it.
I do believe you can get into the real estate market right now and learn how to be creative and find that extra property. A guy asked me the other day, he's like, man, our price is dropping down. No. But here's what's happening. When you go to a hot property right now, there used to be 6 people offering on it. Yeah. Now there might just be 2. So there's the difference. Yeah. Right. You're not going to get a great deal now, even, but you might get another house that you weren't able to get. You're going to get
your deal, the one you were looking for that you couldn't get.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen a little bit as the big investors, hedge funds, REITs, institutional type money this is when you couldn't beat them on cash offers.
No.
But now they're more institutional. They're maybe a little more bureaucratic. They're a little slow. This is your chance to be more nimble, more flexible, more creative, to use your word. This is the opportunity where you can beat them.
The money's not going to be as cheap, right, to borrow. So when these guys are paying cash and they're leveraging it later and it's basically free money to them, when this rate starts to climb up, we already had one hedge fund change.
Tell us.
They told us,
rate. I had to raise my cap rate.
We had a hedge fund this week tell us, hey, we're no longer buying at this mill rate. We're buying at this one. And that was...
You've been calling it. You say, when's it coming?
It's
here.
It's here. And I refuse, and I'm saying this, I'll probably say this another 10 times. I refuse not to watch the market right now. Watch what's happening. Everyone's telling you.
Yes.
Hedge funds are telling you that they're not buying as strong as they used to. We're seeing adjustments on the daily. I won't be shocked today if someone else comes in and says, hey, they're doing something different. It's just a different day.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For us, for you, for whoever that is an investor who wants to thrive in this, you're excited about these opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't use the same language on this as that I do, but verbiage, I should say, that I do to describe it, but I'm okay with all of this. Yeah. And if you're an investor and you're not, or you're feeling the pinch with this, then I think either you need to change your mindset, listen to some different people, maybe adjust. And I'm not saying, just get off what's the truth, but get involved with some people that are actively investing and ask. If you call me off the air and we talk off the air and talk, it's the same message. You won't hear any different from me, right? Yeah. My investor hat is the same as my agent hat, and my podcast hat is the same as the other. So
that's right.
You're not going to get a different.
You and I think one of the things you and I have in common, as a total aside, is it's one of our strengths is that we're the same all the time.
Period.
It can also be a weakness.
It can be.
Because we are just who we are.
And I'm going to give it to you like I always have done it with this podcast and radio show and whatever it's evolved to. But I have always come on here and given my honest opinion.
You always do.
And try to be as clear and as accurate on our market as I can. And for the last 2 years, guys, if you've listened and followed for years, you've basically just heard me be a cheerleader. What else am I going to tell you? Everything's been great. The money's cheap as it's ever been. Rent's going up. Buy. Well, now things are different. So you're going to hear a different tone coming. You're going to hear a different topic coming and a different attitude coming from us, because it's no longer like buy everything you can get your hands on. It's going to be, hey, let's go through the maze a little bit and pick up selectively along the way. I try to make sure that we don't come across on here as trying to sell anybody anything. So the opinion that I have to you is going to be the same opinion as if you're hearing it on here, or if you're calling me on the phone, or if you ask me later. I try to be, extremely consistent. This is not 2006 and 2009. They loaned differently back then, guys.
Yeah.
I don't have to go into all that detail, but bad credit and stated income and 100% financing got us into the trouble that we were in 2006 and 9. Right now is not the same. We're gonna see a slowdown in our market, but we're not gonna see any type of crashes. The banks protected themselves this time. The government's not gonna go. The feds are not gonna raise these rates so fast that it doesn't give you time to plan. You're going to have time to react to this. So if you choose to,
right, that's right.
If you sit on your hands.
Yeah, they've been telling us.
You pop
it's
up,
coming.
It's your fault.
It's coming. Yes, that's what it's like. You just got to be attentive. You got to be mindful. You got to be ready.
What do you think? And we'll wrap it up with this. But what do you think the next 30 months? And by the way, that we never get political on here, but I chose 30 months on purpose because that's when a new election comes. So and no matter who it is, I don't think we're going to see you start. What do you think we're going to see in the next 30 months?
That's hard to predict. I'll kind of go with, because I think you got some more on that. I'm going to do the Jeff Bezos answer. So Jeff Bezos, they asked him years ago, hey, what do you think is going to happen in 10 years? He goes, I don't know. Well, what's going to change in 10 years? I don't know what's going to change, but I'll tell you what's going to stay the same. People are still going to want their goods cheap, fast, and a big quantity. So that's what Amazon, focuses on. Cheap, big quantity, and getting it to you fast. That's not going to change. So I can tell you things that aren't going to change. People are going to need rental houses.
Check.
Renters. This is our experience through COVID. Mm-hmm. This was our experience through the Great Recession. Not to mention the good times, is people really focus on 4 things as income goes. They pay their rent, housing. They pay for housing. They pay their utilities. Mm-hmm. They pay their transportation, and they pay for food. Everything else becomes discretionary.
Yep.
So as a renter, as a landlord, as an investor, people are going to rent properties and they're going to pay their rent. Now, is life going to happen like you described in that situation? Yes. But the overwhelming majority, in my 20 plus years of doing this, the overwhelming majority of people have a moral compass that makes them want to pay their bills.
Yes.
That's what our whole society is built upon, is paying your bills and having a mutual trust.
That's right.
So in a beneficial exchange. So people are going to do that.
Yep.
So I think that to me is what kind of keeps pushing me forward with this as a buyer. It's like people are going to be renting. They're going to be paying rent no matter what happens. Inflation's going to come. So I think to kind of get the other side of the coin, here's something, what you have known as an investor and what has attracted you to this market is not going to change.
Nope.
So there is still opportunity to sell if you need to. There's opportunity to buy if you want to have an investment in a location at a price that that fits your model. So because the renters are going to be there. So that's how I would answer that, because I know you got some more on the economy and the global situation.
I know you talked a little bit about your. I agree with what you just said.
That's my cop out. But it's also something I wanted to make that case for people. Again, staying focused on what you're doing. But what do you see happen over the next 30 months?
I don't. Economically, we're gonna continue to suffer. I think the economy 100%. Is not done bottoming out. We're not there yet. We're gonna continue to go. I don't know when or what, but
for sure,
it's continued to dive. I do think or nationally, the investor market is going to suffer, because I think in some other areas the rent is not going to be paid as well. I think in our city,
that's a great point.
I think that we are going to stand out during this, and here's why. From what you just said about Bezos specifically, Amazon is putting up million square foot plants in our region, meaning counties surrounding here, like they're McDonald's restaurants.
We're a distribution hub, so there's everybody
and they're going to pay that rent.
Yes.
We got Blue Oval coming up about 40 minutes from us here, which, by the way, in the grand scheme of things, a 40-minute commute into Memphis is nothing. So there's going to be some jobs and things come from that. I believe that we are going to see rents continue to increase, but our prices are going to stay flat. The interest rates are going to control that, but I believe our rents are going to stay the same, maybe even go up a tick more because of the demand. And I believe here in Memphis, if you want to thrive and you want to find some deals, you can find them. I don't believe that we're going to see any kind of change until we have a new administration. And I don't mean one side or the other. I just mean something new.
Because for more certain, I mean, because everything swings from certainty to uncertainty. And we are in an uncertain time right now.
That's right. And until we see something drastically change, like an administration change, then you're not going to have anything kind of
And you're in midterm elections right now when people are anxious about that. So there's no doubt there's a lot more. Ukraine and everything that's going on. Everything still going on is uncertainty. So that is not, it makes for great headlines. Whoo, man.
It does make for great headlines.
Media is now.
I know. And I would challenge everybody to form your own opinion. Find out some truths in our city and what's going on when it comes to investing, and do your homework and do your research and stay with the plan.
Yeah, and I was talking to a guy about a business related to the business last week, and I was telling him, I was like, time's on my side.
Big time, yeah.
As a business owner, investor, and you're running your business, and if you're running your business like dialed into it, time's on your side.
Yes.
Time is a friend of a good business.
That's right. That's great.
Yeah. It's not.
Time is a friend of a good business.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and that's what we're talking and telling people to do
today.
All
right. Look, thanks. Great topic today. I'm really excited about, to bring this info. It's so relevant to what's going on now. Thank you guys for listening. Again, if you want to get on that buyer's list, email me, dean@crestcore.com. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, dean@crestcore.com. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.